So, this woman is about to get kidnapped and forced to live in a box for 7 years. Now, the woman's name is Colleen, and she's 20 years old when this story begins. She's living in Eugene, Oregon, and Colleen has a small problem. It's her friend's birthday, and she really wants to get to the party, but it's hundreds of miles away in California, and she has no way to get there. So one day in 1977, she decides to start hitchhiking. And it's the 70s, so hitchhiking around is considered pretty normal. No big deal. So Colleen is hitchhiking, catching rides here and there, and that's when this nice-looking couple pulls up. Their names are Cameron and Janice. They offer Colleen a ride, and honestly, they seem pretty chill. They even have a baby with them, so she assumes they must be safe. So, she gets in the car with them. But at some point during the drive, things suddenly start to get weird. Out of nowhere, Cameron pulls off the road. Then he climbs into the back seat and boom, he pulls a knife on Colleen. After that, he ties her up and places this strange box over her head, so she can't see what's going on. Then Cameron and Janice drive Colleen all the way to their house in Red Bluff, California. That night, Cameron takes her down into the basement. He blindfolds her, and he tortures her. And from here, things only get worse. For the next few months, Cameron forces Colleen to live in the basement inside a crate-like box that he built. The box is so small that it basically forces her into a sitting position. He only lets her out to eat, drink water, or use the bathroom. And to keep her from trying to escape, Cameron warns her about something terrifying. He tells her there's a secret underground organization called the Company. According to him, this organization buys and sells slaves, and if she ever tries to run away, they will hunt her down. Not only that, but they'll torture both her and her family. And the craziest part is that Cameron's wife, Janice, completely backs up the story. She tells Colleen, "Yeah, it's true. I used to be a slave too, and when I tried to escape, they caught me and punished me." So Colleen believes them. She truly believes there's this evil underground organization out there watching her, waiting for her to make one mistake. Because of that, she chooses not to try escaping. Now that Cameron has her completely terrified and under control, he forces Colleen to sign this bizarre slave contract where she basically pledges herself to him. And to make things even worse, around this same time, Cameron also starts assaulting Colleen. So at this point, her life has become absolute hell. Then, at some point during all of this, Cameron builds her a new box to live in. This one is about the size of a coffin, and he places it underneath his and Janice's waterbed. So now, for around 22 hours every single day, Colleen is locked inside this coffin-like box underneath the bed where Cameron and Janice sleep every night. They only let her out to eat and use the bathroom. Then they force her right back inside. And this torture and abuse just keeps going. A few more years pass, and now it's 1979. Colleen is still living at the house with Cameron and Janice. She's still locked inside the coffin-like box most of the day. She's still being assaulted and tortured. But over time, Cameron slowly starts giving her tiny amounts of freedom. For example, he allows her to come out of the box to do household chores. She cooks for them. She cleans the house. They even allow her to babysit Cameron and Janice's children. And yes, during all of this, Cameron and Janice have 2 daughters living in the house. The girls have no idea what's actually happening. They're simply told that Colleen is a live-in babysitter. At times, Colleen is even allowed to go jogging for exercise. But of course, she never tries to escape because she still believes that the Company is real and that they'll come after her family if she runs away. So more time passes, and now it's 1981. At this point, Cameron agrees to allow Colleen to visit some of her family members who are living in Riverside, California. But there's no way he's letting her go alone. So Cameron goes with her, and together they visit her family. To explain why he's there with her, they pretend that he and Colleen are actually dating. And during the visit, Colleen desperately wants to tell her family the truth. She wants to warn them about everything that's been happening for the past several years. But she still believes the Company is out there somewhere. So she says nothing. And when the visit is over, she leaves with Cameron and returns back to his house. Back to the coffin-like box underneath the waterbed. Then more time passes, and eventually it's 1984. At this point, Colleen has been held captive for 7 years. And during this time, it seems like Cameron is either running low on money or saving up for something because he suddenly allows Colleen to get a part-time job outside the house. So now she's working as a maid at a nearby hotel. But Cameron doesn't let her keep any of the money she earns. No, he forces her to sign all of her paychecks over to him. And around this same time, Cameron starts building a pit underneath a storage shed behind the house. The pit is shallow, and the walls are lined with concrete cinder blocks. His plan is to move Colleen's coffin-like box into that pit underneath the shed, so she can stay there most of the day instead. But that's not even the worst part. Cameron also plans to kidnap more women and force them to become his slaves too. He wants to keep multiple women trapped in coffin-sized boxes underneath the shed. Eventually, Cameron tells Janice about this plan, and this becomes her breaking point. I mean, the man already has one woman trapped in a box who he constantly assaults and abuses. Now he wants to kidnap even more women and fill the property with them. For whatever reason, this is finally too much for Janice. But even then, she still doesn't leave him. Instead, she starts becoming kinder toward Colleen. She begins warming up to her. Janice even starts taking Colleen to church with her, and over time the two of them begin to bond a little. Then one day, Janice finally feels overwhelmed with guilt for everything she and Cameron have done over the years. So she meets with her pastor and tells him the truth about what's been happening for the last 7 years. And the pastor immediately tells her that she needs to leave her husband and help Colleen escape. So now Janice, who has completely changed sides at this point, decides to help Colleen get free. She goes to the hotel where Colleen works and drops an absolute bombshell on her. Janice confesses that the company is fake. It never existed. There is no underground organization hunting escaped slaves. There are no people waiting to torture her family. It was all a lie made up by Cameron to control her. And if Colleen runs away, nobody is coming after her. But strangely, Janice also begs Colleen not to go to the police because she believes she can somehow rehabilitate Cameron and stop him from hurting anyone else. Regardless, the second Colleen learns the truth, she immediately runs away. She catches a bus and returns to her family in Riverside, California. But surprisingly, she still doesn't go to the police. Meanwhile, Janice also stays with Cameron and still doesn't report him. Like she said, she genuinely believes she can change him. But after about 3 months, Janice finally realizes that Cameron is never going to change because he's a psychopath. And she starts becoming terrified that he's going to target more women. Or worse, eventually target their daughters. So finally, Janice goes to the police and tells them everything. And just like that, police move in and arrest Cameron. And while I don't have his mugshot, there is a photo of him being led away in handcuffs. Eventually, Cameron goes to trial, and he's found guilty. He ends up being sentenced to 104 years in prison. As for Janice, she takes a plea deal and receives no prison time in exchange for testifying against her husband.